What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Economic Prepper here. Hope you guys are doing very well today. And if you're brand new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. And while you guys are at it, go ahead and smash the like button for me. I really would appreciate that. So Jeff Bezos is one of the wealthiest individuals to come out to issue financial warnings for the average American. Now, of course, the operative word is average American. He says, hold on to your money, warning us of financial issues that are going to be hitting our economy and likely negatively impacting the average American. Now, is this good news or is this bad news? He's saying that you might want to rethink buying any kind of new cars, trucks, vehicles. Obviously, this is probably, maybe if you have a small business and you require a new purchase of a vehicle, or maybe not necessarily a brand new vehicle, maybe a new to you or new to your business type of vehicle. But anyway, so he's saying that the average American should not be buying a new vehicle. Don't go out and buy any kind of brand new appliances, dishwashers, expensive, $5,000, not even $5,000, $20,000 Sub-Zero refrigerators. Might want to stay away from those kinds of things. So why is Bezos saying this? Why are we hearing so many of these different economic warnings, inflationary warnings? Why is the Fed intentionally trying to choke off the economy? Is this all part of the big reset? Well, in many parts, yes, to be honest with you, yes. So basically, Jeff Bezos. So basically, Jeff Bezos, he's saying that the economy is not looking so good right now. Now, I know when the economy is not looking good, that can actually create a tremendous amount of opportunities. So Americans with no assets, Americans with some assets can all do well. And generally speaking, assets tend to go down in value when the economy gets weak. You'll see stock market collapse. You'll see stock market crashes. You'll see stock market pullbacks. But eventually you will see a stock market rally. And we've seen this time and time again over the last 100 years of the stock market. So the key is you don't want to get caught up in a recession unprepared. You don't want to be caught up in a situation where your income gets cut out, your income gets cut off, gets reduced. Maybe your hours get reduced. If you're in sales, maybe the sales or foot traffic gets reduced in the store or business that you work at. So one of the things I always encourage people is to make sure you have multiple streams of income coming into your household. So, like multiple streams of income at the very basic form is if there's two people, maybe a husband and a wife living in a house, ideally, both of them can generate an income. Now, how that income is generated can be, from various forms. Now, it doesn't mean that both or even one of them has to go out and, dig ditches or, lay bricks for a living. You can do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, you don't necessarily have to leave the house. I know a lot of people today are still concerned about going out the house or being around too many people, or maybe they just prefer to not spend 40 hours a week behind a desk working, away from your family, working the traditional 9 to 5. That's entirely up to you. There's plenty of remote work job opportunities. There's plenty of ways to generate money, starting a business, working from your home. In fact, I'm a huge fan of creating profitable home-based businesses. And it's incredible how many people are generating, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 a year incomes based with home-based businesses. And this business could be, sole proprietorship, could be a partnership, could be an LLC, an S corporation, or, maybe an LLC with S corp elections. Whatever the case is, you figure out what tax structure or company structure, business structure works best for you and your business, and get cracking, start making that money, start making that profit. So in an interview with CNN, Jeff Bezos was saying that the economy didn't look so good. So this is coming from one of the wealthiest men in the world, one of the wealthiest individuals in this world, former owner or former CEO of Amazon, former CEO of AWS, and a number of other Amazon related services, Audible for another one. But anyway, so he said that things are slowing down. You're starting to see layoffs in many sectors in the economy. And this is true. We've seen layoffs reported from companies to the likes of Amazon, FedEx, Walmart. These are big companies. Redfin, Shopify, Bed Bath & Beyond shutting down 150 plus stores. And I've recently saw a layoff notification coming out the likes of, who was it? It was DoorDash. Now, the thing is with most of these companies are not stupid. These companies are laying off employees that don't generate revenue, or they're not generating enough return on compared to their cost. Businesses generally speaking, when a business looks at their expenses, the list of expenses on their balance sheet, they're going to find that, usually speaking, labor is one of the most costly lines on the balance sheet. So it's kind of like a business's go-to when it comes to trying to save money or to increase their profit margin or reduce expenses. It's kind of like, okay, let's go straight to the employees. Let's go straight to the labor. Let's go straight to 1099 contractors, whatever the case may be. Labor is labor. Now, obviously, if you have employees, if you've got 401k plans that they're paying for on top of that, maybe 401k matching. They've got healthcare benefits, insurance, health insurance, vision insurance, dental insurance, so many different. And then there's all sorts of taxes that are related to employers. That, there's taxes related to an employer. How should I say this? An employer has to pay so many taxes related to their employees is ultimately what I'm saying. Then you got vacation time, sick time, all that adds up. So, and you have to remember, when an employee is hired by an employer, the reason that they're hired is because the employer plans to make more money off the employee. So if an employee is making, say, $25 an hour, you can best believe that the employer is making way more than $25 per hour off of that employee's efforts. But anyway, Jeff Bezos ultimately saying that if you're an individual considering purchasing big screen TVs, you might want to hold on to your money and see what transpires. And ultimately, the same is true with automobiles, refrigerators, and whatever else. So he's saying this to remove risk from the equation. Now, he's probably one of the best at calculating risk. Started a business. Jeff Bezos started the Amazon business out of the garage of his parents, some 20 plus years ago. So calculating risk and, starting from nothing and building up to where he's at today, I think he did a pretty good job at it. So if you're among Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck, maybe your job is not all that, stable. Maybe you're worried about being one of those receiving a letter from your manager or from your boss saying that you're going to be laid off, then maybe holding off on that TV is probably some good advice. But if you happen to be, smart, savvy, and you've been working on putting yourself and your family into a strong financial position, then, maybe swiping that American Express card to pick up that brand new flat screen, OLED, Samsung, super flat, nearly non-existent bezel TV might not necessarily be a bad investment. It's for the kids, it's for entertainment, right? But of course, maybe using one of the best credit cards that you have available to you to rack up some extra credit card points, and pay off that balance before the end of the month or before the end of that billing cycle or whatever the case is. That way you don't have to worry about paying interest on it, So basically getting paid to use the card to make purchases you would have been making anyway. And that's generally what I do. I rarely use cash for purchases because it's kind of like getting taxed for using cash when you could use cards instead. And the reason I say that is because most of these companies, they know that most of the transactions are going to be paid for with a credit card. And so they factor in the cost of accepting credit cards, the merchant fees and whatnot. And so basically, if you pay cash, then you're not getting the 2%, 3%, 5% cash back that a credit card might offer. So by not getting those cash backs, by not getting those travel reward points and whatnot from a credit card, by using cash, it's like you're bypassing all of that. So it's almost like paying a 5%, up to a 5% tax by paying cash. So, just something to keep in mind. Now, UBS is saying that 61% of millionaire collectors allocate up to 30% of their overall portfolio before or in this exclusive asset class. Now, the question is, where are millionaire collectors putting 30% of their overall portfolio, especially during a recession? Now, as quiet as it's kept, during recessions, whether we're in a recession right now or not remains to be seen. But that's neither here nor there. The simple fact of the matter is that during recessions is when the majority of wealth is being built. Back in 2008, I remember being in a situation where I was really concerned about the financial existence and well-being of my family. Seeing the news each and every single day during the Great Recession, Lehman Brothers ultimately collapsing. You had AIG on the verge of collapse. You had so many different companies went down between 2008 and 2011. It was ridiculous. Some of these companies that have been around 50 plus years, companies you never think would ever go out of business, they went out of business, right? Are we going to see that going into 2023? Are we going to see that going into 2024 and 2025? I certainly hope not. But I will say that 2008 taught me some valuable lessons about being strategic, being financially savvy, and strategically positioning my family so that recessions benefit us and they no longer are things that cause stress or worry or panic. So it's kind of like, if you've dealt with something that was difficult and seemingly unsurmountable before, but you made it through successfully, chances are if you saw that same problem again, you know what to do. And this was no different. So, but one of the things I learned was to increase my income. Number one, increase how much money you're making doing whatever you're doing. And this applies to each and every one of us. Like, we can always figure out a way to increase our income doing what we're already doing. So that's the first thing you do. Get your time back. Like, even if you need extra money, I don't necessarily recommend you just run out and get a part-time job, because that's going to take up more of your time. If there's a way for you to get paid more within the same amount of time you're currently allocating to your job, then that would be a far more effective use of your time versus running out and getting a second job. Now, if you need a second job, that's okay. If you need immediate cash, you need some immediate money, maybe you need to get your mortgage caught up or your rent payment, your car payment, credit card bill, whatever the case is, maybe you have an immediate need, getting a second or part-time job might not necessarily be a bad idea. However, if you have the time, which most people do, to create a side hustle or start a side hustle that could ultimately become a small business in the future, that will 9 times out of 10, once you get it going, it will pay in spades compared to what a part-time job or secondary job might be able to provide you. Not to mention, depending upon how you structure that, it may actually be something that could be potentially fairly passive. Now, I've actually talked to a number of different people, number of different clients, coached them on creating side hustles and getting them going, because I'll be honest with you, ever since I had a real job, like I've had some, working in, was a busboy at one point, used to bag groceries and doing, dishwashing. I used to do all these different jobs. But once I got a real job, like when I say a real job, like full-time job, and it was like, in an office setting, that allowed me to really start moving forward. But the funny thing is while I did make more money during those types of jobs where I was in the office, I never ever felt secure. And I don't know if you feel this way, but it's like you're always at the mercy of that paycheck. It's like, every week it'd always be like, man, made it through another week, or your job is always at the mercy of that one company or your one manager. If they woke up on the wrong side of the bed and, they decided to let you go, that would be it. And that would ultimately impact you and your family for, however long it took you to land a new job. So with that feeling being present, and it had always been present, no matter how much money I made, even when I was making well over, even once I've reached well over 6 figures per year, well over $100,000 a year, I still felt that feeling like, I don't like this. Like, I got to do something about this. I got to have another source of income. And for me, that was the only way I ever began to feel some degree of safety. And I think there's a reason for that. Growing up, my mom always said, never put all your eggs in one basket. And I think when you only have one job, you've got one basket to fill. And when you create multiple streams of income, you create multiple baskets that end up getting filled. And if you're strategic about it, you create the types of baskets that don't require constant pedaling. Like with a traditional 9-to-5 job, it's kind of like, once you stop pedaling, you stop getting paid. But when you create these other alternative forms of income that are less active and more passive, the more passive income forms of income, then you get your time back. And then if you can kind of propel those passive income streams to grow and grow and grow and grow to the point where they exceed your full-time job, then you're on your way to financial independence, whereby you can retire when you choose and spend your time doing what you want to do when you want to do it. Take your family on trips, spend more time with your family and your loved ones. And be able to, wake up without an alarm clock, wake up when you decided to wake up, and gaining control back, gaining control of your time, gaining control. One of the greatest freedoms is to be able to be where you want to be when you want to be there versus the average American not really having a choice and having to be someplace that they don't necessarily want to be for most of their waking hours. But anyway, I'll say that for another day. But anyway, Jeff Bezos is issuing these warnings. And like I said, Jeff Bezos isn't the only one issuing these warnings for families to prepare. Utility sector consists of companies that provide electricity, water, natural gas, and other essential services to homes and for businesses. Now, this particular sector is not exactly a fascinating one, but the cool thing about this particular sector is a lot of the utility stocks on the stock market pay dividends. So, dividend stocks is probably one of the easiest ways to start generating passive income. And, it's probably something that most people could start. So, you can open up a Webull app. You can open up a Webull account, maybe E-Trade or Robinhood or Moomoo, whatever your favorite stock trading app is, and, start buying some shares of some dividend paying stocks. And they're fairly reliable. I mean, think about it. People are always going to need gas to heat their homes, electricity, water. And so basically, the high barriers to entry protect your profits of existing utility companies. I mean, think about it. A new company can't just become a new utility company overnight. So it's like these utility companies, they're in a unique position within the marketplace where customers are pretty much going to be around forever. They're always going to need your service, your product, your service. And for a new company to come in and offer electricity, or a new company to come in and offer water services or water, or a new company to come in and offer, gas, good luck on that. So I think that's one of the reasons why I found that, these utility companies are great sources of passive income. But, this is like entry level passive income, but there's way more opportunities out there beyond the stock market. And we'll probably go into more of those opportunities in future videos. But I came across this one product, and I was actually talking to a lady. She's a little older. She was saying like she wished she could invent something that she could sell so she could make a lot of money. And I asked her, I was like, hey, do you have any ideas? And, she started sharing some ideas with me. But I asked her, I was like, have you ever thought about just taking an idea that already exists and just tweaking that to make it a little bit better versus, trying to create something brand new and create market demand for it? And I showed her several products that were actually, great examples of that, already selling on Amazon. And I also showed her where she could get those products manufactured. And some of these products, there's one product I'm actually thinking about right now. It was actually selling for like $18. And I showed her the factories where you can actually get some of these products. And that same product that was selling for $18, you could actually pick it up for like 79 cents each. And, even after shipping it and all that, it might have been roughly $1.50 per unit. But look, if you can spend $1.50 on something and sell it all day long for $18, $19, $20, that's how you become wealthy. That's how you really change your family tree. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, guys. I got some family coming through. But you guys be safe. It's getting cold out there. Hope you guys are staying warm. Hope you guys are spending time with your families this holiday season. And if you guys have any questions for me, hit me up in the comments down below. And if you want to reach out to me directly, my contact information is in the description of this video. You guys be safe.